If the universe is constantly expanding, why is my closet still out of space?
If nothing travels faster than light, how does the dark always manage to get there first?
If we are all made of stardust, does that mean using a vacuum cleaner is a cosmic tragedy?
Seriously, what is going on with humor these days? Why are millions of people obsessed with a singing head popping out of a toilet, skibbity toilet? Or how did the number 67 just randomly become the funniest thing in the world for a week? It all feels so random, so nonsensical, like comedy itself is just breaking down. And that leads to a much, much bigger question.
You've probably heard the term for this feeling, brain rot. And before you just shrug it off as, another internet slang word, get this. Oxford University Press, the Oxford, just made it their 2024 Word of the Year. So this idea, the feeling that our brains are kind of turning to mush from endless scrolling, it's officially gone mainstream. But is there any real science behind it?
To figure out if humor is actually decaying, we need to set a baseline first. What does a good joke even look like to our brains? Because it turns out that getting a joke isn't just a simple reflex. It's actually some of the most complicated and impressive work your brain can do.
Even for a really simple joke to land, your brain has to fire up something called theory of mind. It's this incredible ability to understand that other people have different thoughts, beliefs, and feelings than you do. It's how you know that when someone slips on a banana peel in a cartoon, it's supposed to be funny, not a genuinely tragic accident. It's sophisticated stuff.
In fact, scientists have broken humor down into 4 main styles. You can see them here. On the positive side, you've got affiliative humor, inside jokes that bring people together, and self-enhancing humor, which is all about finding the funny in a bad situation to help you cope. Then there are the not-so-great ones. Aggressive humor, which is basically bullying, and self-defeating humor, where you're always the butt of your own joke. A healthy mind usually juggles the good ones pretty well.
And here's the really cool part, the mental gymnastics behind it all. To understand sharp satire or a clever pun, your brain has to do something called frame shifting, where you instantly throw out one interpretation of a story and adopt a new one. It also does conceptual blending, which is mashing together 2 totally separate ideas to create something new and funny. This is a serious mental workout.
Okay, so if real humor is like a workout for the brain, what happens if that brain power starts to dip? Let's look at the first big clue in this whole investigation. For the entire 20th century, something incredible happened. Around the world, IQ scores just kept going up, decade after decade. They called it the Flynn effect. But then, the 21st century happened, and for the first time in modern history, that trend didn't just stop. It actually started to reverse. In a lot of developed countries, IQ scores are now falling. And this isn't just a vague feeling. We have the data. A huge study out of Northwestern University found that some of our key cognitive skills are consistently dropping. Take a look at this table. Things like verbal reasoning, problem solving, and logical thinking are all on the decline. And here's the kicker. Those are the exact skills you need for abstract thought and understanding complex humor. So the billion-dollar question is, are we just evolving to be less smart? Well, the science is pretty clear. Absolutely not. Studies that compared brothers who are born years apart show the decline isn't in our genes. It's being caused by something around us. Something in our environment has changed. Big time. So if our environment is the culprit, what's the #1 suspect? Well, it's a world we all live in now, the digital attention economy. This is the fundamental business model of the internet. It's really simple. Your attention, your eyeballs, your time, that's the product. All these platforms are designed to grab as much of it as they can so they can sell it to advertisers. And that model changes everything about the kind of stuff that gets made and pushed to the top. Okay, psychologists say we have 2 different modes of thinking. Think of it like 2 gears. System 2 is your slow, analytical, deep-thinking brain. It's for solving hard problems. But System 1, that's your fast, impulsive, emotional brain. It runs on instinct. Now guess which one the algorithms for short-form video are built to talk to? Yep, they're designed to completely bypass System 2 and go straight for that gut reaction System 1. And this has a real physical impact on your brain. When you're scrolling, it's like a dopamine fire hose hitting the reward center of your brain, making you feel good and wanting more. At the very same time, it quiets down your prefrontal cortex. That's the CEO of your brain, the part in charge of self-control and deep thought. The whole system is literally built to favor impulse over intellect. So, what does an environment like this do to something as complex and beautiful as culture? Specifically, what happens to all the different ways people are funny around the world? Let's just take two examples. Traditional American humor is often really direct, it's satirical, but traditional Mexican humor has this amazing form called albur. It's this lightning-fast game of witty, complex double entendres. It's a verbal duel that requires incredible language skills and deep cultural context to even play. It's basically the polar opposite of what an algorithm wants.
Now here's where it all connects. The data from Nielsen shows that US Hispanics, who are often a younger, very mobile-first group, are actually leading the way in adopting these platforms. As you can see, their usage rates for streaming and YouTube are higher than the general population. They're right at the heart of this collision between rich cultural traditions and the new digital world. So, what happens when the whole world is on the same few platforms, being fed by the same algorithm? Well, the algorithm is kind of like a steamroller. It doesn't care about clever wordplay or cultural nuance. It just flattens everything, promoting whatever is simplest and easiest to digest. The end result is what some people are calling a digital monoculture, where complex local humor gets pushed aside for simple visual nonsense that anyone anywhere can get in half a second. Okay, it's time to bring it all home. We've seen the evidence for cognitive decline, we've seen how the algorithm works. But what's the real motive? Why are we all retreating into so-called brain rot?
And here's the final twist. Maybe brain rot isn't just a symptom of us getting dumber. Maybe it's a defense mechanism. Think about it. We live in a world of constant, stressful information overload. So retreating into something as mind-numbingly meaningless as Skibbity Toilet, it's a form of escape. The humor is in the fact that it means nothing. It's a rejection of the world's demand that we constantly think and process and care.
This quote from our source material just says it all, perfectly. The problem isn't that our brains are broken or that we've lost the ability to think. The problem is that we've built a digital environment that actively punishes deep thought and massively rewards the exact opposite.
So we're left with this massive question. If the digital world we've built is actively changing how we think, how we laugh, and even what we value, what is our responsibility to change it? What's on us as individuals and as a whole society to try and shape that environment for the better? It's definitely something to think about the next time you swipe.